Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And what's on tap for today? Well, we've got another great reaction video. One of our favorite senators again, Josh Hawley. He's questioning the Homeland Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. That's right, folks. Alejandro. He's on the hot seat. We're going to get to that in just the next few seconds. But before we do so, if you haven't already done so, or if it's the first time you've joined our channel, welcome aboard. You're watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your guest host. My name is Dr. Nasir. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. You know what to do. Let's get to the reaction video right now.
Border is closed. Is that still your position today? Border is closed?
Yes, it is.
Don't you think you bear any responsibility for the current crisis by telling the world earlier this year that the border was open? Your words were, we're not telling you not to come. We're just telling you that we're putting a system back in place in which you can come. I mean, don't you think people took your words at face value then?
Senator, I've never said that the border is open, and I've never believed...
We're not telling you not to come. How would you parse that?
Senator, I've never said that the border is open, and I've never believed that it should be an open border. We have laws that Congress has passed that are laws of accountability and also laws of humanitarian relief.
You did say that we're not telling you not to come, though, right? You said that. You remember that?
I'm sorry, Senator. I apologize.
You remember saying, don't you, that we're not telling you not to come? Those are your words that you said in a press conference. You said that, right?
I don't recall saying that. I don't believe...
Isn't that what always happens? I don't recall saying that. I don't remember saying that. I don't think I really said that. That's really not what I said. These guys, they lie, and then after they lie, the verbal diarrhea that emanates and comes forth from their esophagus and through their lips and makes a sound, it's really the sound of flatulence, folks. It's the sound of fart gas. That's all I can describe, and basically, use those adjectives and modifiers to describe it. It smells, it stinks, it's rotten to the core. These guys are just absolute elitists, liars, fraudsters, every single one of them. And they're put in place of making policies. These are the guys that are making the laws, making the policies that are making this country unsafe, our borders unsafe. It's unbelievable. Anyways, let's continue with Alejandro Mayorkas.
You don't recall saying that?
That's correct, Senator. I have never said...
We'd be happy to refresh your memory for you and some questions for the record. I'm sure that is interesting news that I'm sure everyone will... The Secretary's just said he doesn't have any memory of making those comments. That's extraordinary.
Senator, I have never said that the border is open.
Let me ask you about this. CBP data says that the agency had 178,000 enforcement encounters at the southern border in April. It's the highest in 2 decades. Of that total, what percentage were subject to immediate expulsion?
I will get that data to you. I don't have that at my disposal this morning.
Is it 100%? Is it 60%? Is it 20%? Do you have any idea?
100% of families and single adults are subject to expulsion, except for those with acute vulnerability.
Excuse me, guys. I just have to... I feel something coming up here after he answered that. 100% are subject to expulsions. Hold on a second. Wait. I got to throw up. This is ridiculous. Oh. I couldn't hold it in, folks. I couldn't hold it in. I mean, that's just, I call BS. I call bullshit. Let's continue.
Vulnerabilities, and we exercise that discretion. However, our ability to actually expel families under CDC's Title 42 authority is limited by, for example, Mexico's ability and capacity, I should say, to receive the expelled families, and that is what we are addressing as a result.
Okay, I think the number is around 60% or so are subject to immediate expulsion, which means we have a very large percentage of migrants who were permitted entry into the United States and are still here. But we'll give that question again to you for the record so that you could go and look it up. Let me ask you this. Why is it that this week, actually late last night, it was reported that CBP terminated a flight program that transferred families across the southern border for purposes of expelling them under Title 42. These flights were apparently canceled due to the pressure of left-wing groups. Is that accurate?
Senator, we make our decisions as we consider to be most effective in furtherance of our mission and not because of pressure by outside groups. I'd be pleased to look into the cancellation of the lateral flights and respond to you after I've done so.
You're telling me here that the ACLU had no role in the termination of these expulsion flights? Is that your testimony?
Senator, we are addressing the claims of the ACLU. The ACLU has claimed that our exercise of the CDC's Title 42 authority is not supported by the law, and we are working with the ACLU, actually adverse to the ACLU.
You're working with them, though?
If I may, Senator, we are adverse to the ACLU.
But you're working with them in this program? Is that why you canceled it?
If I may finish, Senator, we are adverse to the ACLU in litigation with respect to the legal authority underpinning our exercise of the CDC's Title 42 authority.
That was just a BS answer. You're working with the damn ACLU, okay? Just spit it out, for God's sakes. God, these guys lie after 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 lie. It gets to the point where you just go, what the heck? I mean, why even come to this place? It just, Alejandro Mayorkas orchestrating the big lie.
Right, but they had a role in terminating this. You're working with them in the termination of these expulsion flights.
Senator, the decisions with respect to expulsion flights are ours because of the decisions that we have made based on the reasons that we think are necessary to execute on our mission.
Well, I think the fact that you're working with them is interesting news, so that's also quite relevant. We'll give you this information as a question for the record.
Senator, they're suing us and we're defendants. That's not what
I'm just quoting back what you just said. You just said that we're working with them. The news reports indicate that you've canceled these flights at their behest. You and I both know that there can be such a thing as friendly litigation, Mr. Secretary. I mean, let's not pretend otherwise. I'm just repeating your own words to you. We'll give this to you as a question for the record so that you can look.
I'm just repeating your own lies right back to you, sir. Your own lies. We're just giving you back your own lies, your own verbal diarrhea. I'm just basically giving it right back to you.
Into it more further. I think that's interesting news. Let me ask you about why you canceled the Safe Third agreements with the governments of El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras. These are agreements negotiated by the previous administration that the president canceled once he came into office. The president says that he's an avowed multilateralist, and yet one of the first things he did was to tear up these international agreements with other countries. How can you address the root causes of migration, as you keep talking about, if you're going to tear up international agreements that try to address these problems?
I'll answer that question before he does, because our President Brandon is a senile, dementiated old fool and is a stupid, idiotic, moronic retard, which I have, the acronym is SIMR, S-I-M-R, stupid, idiotic, moronic, retarded. And this Alejandro Mayorkas falls lockstep with the Biden administration policies, which he is just a puppet for.
So I will answer your question and make one comment before I do so. I've been a lawyer now for 35 or so years. Friendly litigation is a phenomenon with which I'm completely unfamiliar.
Liar, 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 your pants are going to be on fire. He doesn't know what, been there for 35 years, doesn't understand what friendly litigation is. Who does he think we are? We know you're just absolutely, this is just BS.
Really? You're not familiar? Wait a minute. You're not familiar with an outside group bringing litigation against the government that the government then accedes to in order to change the law? You've never heard of that phenomenon?
Senator, I'm not familiar with friendly litigation. As a federal prosecutor, I was a strong advocate for the United States government in the pursuit of criminal accountability.
You've never heard on the, wait, this is interesting, and you just brought it up. You've never heard of a regulatory lawsuits in which outside groups bring suits against the federal government. The government then agrees to settle the suit or to change its rules, and it reaches a settlement that is favored, that the government actually wants to achieve. You've never heard of that before?
Senator, I've heard of resolutions of litigation. I've heard of settlements of litigation. I've heard of arbitration. I've heard of mediation. Friendly litigation, the commencement of friendly litigation is something with which I'm unfamiliar. The reason why the safe third country agreements were terminated is because there was nothing safe about them.
That's a bunch of crap. That is a bunch of absolute freaking crap. Say it here, I'll say it now, I'll say it forever. Those third-party agreements, unilateral, bilateral, trilateral, okay, with El Salvador, with the other Latin American countries, they were made by the previous administration, the Trump administration, so that when people were coming for asylum, have to go back to those countries basically, or go back to Mexico first and wait there until their hearing was scheduled, and then decide whether or not that they had a right to asylum or not. And then Biden administration, where they just tear it up on the very first day. And Mayorkas says, you know what? Yeah, they were unsafe. Unsafe for who? It wasn't unsafe for the United States of America.
I'm sorry, by which you mean what?
Senator, to have an individual fleeing persecution from Guatemala and considering Honduras a safe third country is actually empirically incorrect.
I just have to end this thing. Who cares if it's empirically incorrect? And who cares if it's unsafe? They were already on an unsafe journey to try to come to the United States of America. So if they have to wait in another third world country until their case comes up, so be it. But in the meantime, you're trying to say, okay, so it's unsafe for them, but let's go ahead and let them cross the border. Let's bust them. Let's put them on a plane, send them into the interior of the United States of America at night, into New York, into these other countries, into these other cities and towns. Don't let anybody know they're coming in. We're not going to vet them at all. We're going to basically say, hey, you got to appear before a sentencing judge on this date. They never show up. In the meantime, you're saying that's safe? It's not safe for us. It's not safe for American citizens. Of course it's not. And Alejandro Mayorkas knows that. But the guy's talking out of both sides of his derriere. It's unbelievable. This is a bunch of crap. So I said, these guys, they don't give a damn about the United States of America. All they care about is putting forth policies that's going to allow illegal aliens to come in this country because they know that that could be a power block or a voting block for them in the future. That's what this is all about, folks. And you know what? It's not just on the Democrat side, the progressive moderates. There's a lot of Rhino Republicans who are looking at it from the same angle, maybe from a business side, cheap labor. We all know what's going on, folks. We all know what's going on. This is to undermine the safety and security of the southern border of the United States, and it makes America less safe, less secure, both from a domestic standpoint and from a national security standpoint as well. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. We've got a whole bunch of other videos. Check out our catalog on our show, and that's what I'm saying. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your guest host for today. My name is Dr. Nasir, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. You know what to do. I'll leave you with my final thought, folks, which is, when you're right, you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. See you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.